Welcome again to another wacky edition of the Roundtable show presented by Ralphie's, where we got to start recording the stuff.
The pregame? Oh,
the pregame.
We need outtakes.
We can do podcasts.
Viewership would explode. They'd be like, you think these guys are idiots on the air. You should see the dumb stuff they say off the air.
Oh, my goodness. All right. Marty Ben, Big John Milikowski, glad to have you along.
See, I'm not even sure we're actually on the air because based on watching the Derby last week, I mean, it might still be in for review right now. So there could be a change of our circumstance anytime.
That was one of the funniest things I've seen at a Mud Hens game because Mud Hens started at 5 o'clock that night. The Derby's going on, between batters, so they put it up on the scoreboard quick. Everybody cheers. Well, the batter steps in the box, they take it off the scoreboard. Everybody boos. Batter step back out, everybody cheers because they put it back on the scoreboard. Batter step back in, took it off the scoreboard. I have never seen 4,000 people cheering and booing the horse race or the scoreboard like that.
First of all, I didn't know anybody cared about the Kentucky Derby outside of going to the event.
Apparently you don't wager on things?
No, I don't.
And that's why, because if you put your money on maximum security, I'd be a little.
And how many?
But I wouldn't.
But how many people would be interested in the Kentucky Derby if you couldn't bet on it?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
That's kind of what I'm saying there.
Okay.
So we've already established that there's a lot of people that go downtown for a ball game that aren't really interested in the ball game.
Well, yeah.
That's different. Ish. Different-ish.
Ish.
So I was at a bar in Austin, Texas. And may or may not have had a few toddies.
Sounds like the setup of a
No, it's not a joke. And we're watching it, and I said, boy, it looked like he hip-checked that other horse. And I didn't realize there was such a thing as a DQ. I thought it was like racing genius. Because I've watched NASCAR where the guy drifts out and cuts the guy off and whatever. And I saw him stumble, and we all kind of, like three of us, because I've been to the Derby, and the worst thing is if they all crash. I mean, horses, they basically pull tarps out. I mean, I don't want to get graphic, but it's gruesome what happens. And in that pack is
if the horse goes down and gets hurt, they put him down.
Right. Yes.
Not to mention jockeys can get killed very easily.
And as tight as that pack was in the slop, it was going to be a multiple horse crash, for lack of a.
Well, it's why you can't do what the horse did.
Right. So I didn't know you could be
DQ'd,
and then we go back because it was the same thing. There was a band playing, they put it on, they turn it off, and my phone starts blowing up, and it's like, "Are you watching this?" I'm like, "I watched it," and then I'm like, "Oh, wait, that's actually a foul." And if you watch the replay, it's like the NFC Championship game last year, or Dez's catch, which was my favorite meme of the weekend. Catch. Let me go over this one more time. Dez's catch. I mean, if you know the rules, clearly that was a violation, and they made the right call and they got it right. It's just, it sort of is anticlimactic and stinks.
But it's a 2-minute race that it took them 25 minutes to review.
Well, but the people upstairs, unlike the watching eye in the sky in the
pregame's 3+
NFL,
hours.
I don't understand that.
Well, with the NFL watching eye, they call it down from the booth in the last 2 minutes. Where this time the jockeys had to register the complaint, and then they had to interview them, and people had to talk, and then they had to go. You realize in 145 years this has never happened, and then they were like, "This is going to really stink." But that was awful. But this is really going to stink. But that was awful, and then they all decided to do the right thing, which. God bless you, commissioners or whatever you are from Kentucky Derby, for doing the right thing despite the political pressure. Not that I'm trying to make a statement here.
And then they show this replay booth or replay room, and it's got like one little TV like this that they're all trying to watch.
You're talking about like an NBA game where they all go over there and stare in the piece of paper and go, "Wait, was that guy's 7'6" his finger touching the ball as it reverse spun?" Because we can't look on the jumbotron and all step back and watch the same.
I'm wondering if anybody had the 65-1 shot to win and tore their ticket up after the.
Well, did the guy that won the most on that left thinking he lost, but didn't throw it down, had it in his pocket, and his buddy texts him, and he was already. I've been there. It's not great parking in Louisville.
Well, and he goes across 150,000 people. So,
but he's across the street, and they call him back, and then he won the bonus for the best bet, so he won another $100,000 or whatever it was. But he had left Churchill Downs, not knowing this was happening, and his buddies are like, "Dude, you come back," because he was one of those guys that put like 100 on 2 long shots. and he'd lost his keister for the weekend, according to him. And then suddenly the sun, there's that old, the sun shines on a dog's whatever.
Behind, yes.
Yes. And
and how about a competitor of yours had a contest where they pick one person per horse, and you wanted $250,000 towards your mortgage. So how about if you're the one who had maximum security, and you're thinking you're going to get a $250,000 mortgage, and all of a sudden you don't get a mortgage?
Yeah, but that competitor, you mostly don't get a mortgage, so it's okay. I'm here all night. I'm going to need that clip, by the way.
Marty
That'll be on YouTube.
Marty's part of Fairway Mortgage, which has nothing to do with this conversation.
That's why I didn't bring up the name of the company that sponsored that. Because they don't pay us to mention their name.
Well, they pay everybody else to mention their name.
Yes, they do.
Yes.
Well, at least somebody still believes in rules.
So here's where I think the transition comes for me, and it was really hard because in the last couple of weeks, I have friends on all three sides of this situation. So in a local baseball game, there was a couple calls, and the umps were ridden at the game. There was some chatter. There were some things, and I get that happens. We've talked about how it is to find officials and whatever else, but it just so happens BCSN's covering the game, so there's a shot from behind the diamond, and so it then explodes into social media and lives on for a week and a half in social media. And I guess to me, that's where I draw the line. In high school, this isn't the NFC Championship game where we're all watching it on TV. We're billions of dollars. This is a high school baseball game where a judgment call, a bang play at first base goes on across the diamond, and then we can't let it go. And so I guess, I've said this. If that call's garbage, I'm all for giving them an earful at the game, because if you're an official and you can't ignore it there, but do you need to be vilified then for weeks on end and replays and social media? I mean, it's a high.
Well, and it just so happened to be a game that BCSN was covering.
Correct.
Which is
if not, no
3 games a week, maybe, right, out of all the games in Northwest Ohio.
And they happen to have the down the line shot that and the guy's in the C position where it's a tough call. I mean, the whole thing to me is just smacks of, at some point in time, you have to let it go.
Well, and I'm kind of surprised the OHSAA did nothing about that.
I'm offended.
I mean, unless it has to have made its way down to Columbus. It had to have made its way down there. I can't believe they did nothing about it.
Well, and what kills me is
on what should they have done?
Well,
find the people, find or suspended the people that posted it who were involved in coaching.
I mean,
if parents are doing it, it's hard to control that. But when the coaches participate and comment on social media, to me,
right. I mean, if a coach is out there posting it, name calling, I mean, that crosses the line, because and especially because as a high school coach, you're a role model for all these kids. And
at least you're supposed to be.
Well, you're supposed to.
Well, you are. You could be a bad role model.
Well,
I mean, the thing you're a role model in both directions. Yeah, right? You can be a bad role model, and you can be a good role model.
When I coached, I wouldn't let the kids complain about the umpiring. I mean, I would once in a while, but not. If it's a bang play, it doesn't go your way. It doesn't go your way. I would never let them do it, because my lesson to them was, life is going to throw you things that aren't quite fair. And that's just another thing you have to overcome. Sports is about overcoming obstacles.
Yep.
And
it's another thing you have to overcome.
Especially at that level.
And it takes your focus off of what you're doing.
Well, the other thing, and we used to teach the kids
So
this,
it's a bad example.
a ton, in all sports. Yeah, they blew the call. Now, if you're gracious about it and walk out and go, hey, can you help me on that quietly, or between innings, or it's whatever, don't tell me makeup calls don't exist in athletics. Because we see it. You and I know that the holding call that got missed on the possession before, it gets a way less egregious one gets called, and then the guy up in the stands is going, how do they call that? Well, because he knew, right? He knew the one before it he should have called. And so, but if you are an a-hole about it, you're not getting anything after a while. And we used to teach them, hey, because if you're the pitcher and you give the home plate ump this when you put it right on the paint and it's perfect, or if you just smack it back in your hand and throw it right back in the same spot, it's amazing, because you can be that much further out the next one, and he rings them up because he knew he missed the last one. Well, that's a great life lesson for how to act. And I guess all I would say about this is I am the first guy to give an earful. But the thought of going home and letting that live for weeks and weeks.
Well, one's a reaction, the other one's premeditated.
There's a line there that don't cross.
Let's take a time out. We'll come back. I want to talk some football, actually, when we come back. It's for our Roundtable show presented by Ralphie's.
Bring yourself to Ralphie's. Yeah, it's that good. It's that good, no matter what your taste. It's that good. Come early, stay late. Burgers and beer, a shot of cheer. Great food and fun. It's that good here. Bring yourself to Ralphie's. Yeah, it's that good.
Mortgage Marty here. It's spring buying season's right around the corner. In fact, now is the best time to get started. Gives us a little lead time. If there's things we need to tweak, we can get on it right away. Remember, those credit inquiries don't affect your score any more than they will if you check later. So one inquiry, whether it's now and then again in the spring, still only counts as one, won't hurt your score. We helped 3 customers this week improve their score by an average of 30 points. So reach out now. Let's get that started. 419-461-0667 or marty.bin, B-I-H-N, at fairwaymc.com.
Powerbomb Wrestling is back in Toledo coming up on Sunday, June the 2nd, St. Clements Hall, 2990 Tremainsville in Toledo. Doors will open at 4:15, bell time at 5. It is June Justice, and you will see the champion Brandon Day defend his title. Also, a no DQ, no count out for the tag team titles. Andy Shane against Man Fulton and more. It's Sunday, June the 2nd, St. Clements Hall in Toledo. And back we are from our Roundtable show presented by Ralphie's. And don't forget, we often talk about the half-price appetizers after 9 on Sunday through Thursday, but also it's wing time during that time. So
Now you're speaking my language.
greatly reduced prices on 10-count wings during that time, which their wings are awesome. Yeah. They are very good. And they
She never mentions the
talk
word
about them
addiction.
as much, and we actually should.
Yes.
All right, let's talk a little football here. I see where the I keep thinking of Star Trek every time they do this, but the transfer portal, because it's the only time I ever hear the word portal.
Well, it's free agency. Let's just call it
Right.
NCAA free agency.
Well, the Bowling Green quarterback.
God bless you for saying that, because I totally agree that it's, I mean, Pandora's box is now officially open.
Well, and now that you're letting anybody and everybody be eligible right away, if you have any little minor thing,
See,
They had
you
bed
shouldn't-
bugs in the dorm room.
One person called me a name, and so I'm eligible here.
Oh, that's a little Michigan home. Hey, hey, Shay, it's not that big a
okay.
deal. Come on. I mean, you picked it. It's
What are you
your
talking
fault.
about? Go ahead.
He's talking-
Explain. You're having an inside conversation.
He's
Just
talking
explain.
about Brandon Fields getting a transfer because, yes, thank you. Talking about Justin Fields getting a transfer because someone said something horrible, which is not in dispute.
Oh.
But I can't imagine that doesn't go on at many football games, which I think you and I
And
would
it's
agree on.
one person.
Okay, Shay didn't like the coach anymore.
Well,
of
and
your
they were
team.
gonna be on probation, and
Okay, but I'm saying, so we get to decide.
but
or
everybody
adjudicate-
from Mississippi got to go and be eligible. Right away.
All I'm saying is we're adjudicating where the line is. And see, my point is, until you're going to make coaches be held to the fire, there shouldn't be a dang line, because the coaches can do anything they want anytime without any
Well,
repercussion.
let me bring something up here. Is why I wanted to do this segment in the first place.
Okay.
Was Bowling Green's quarterback has entered the portal to transfer. Obviously, they have a new coach. Now, here's a kid that had no Division I offers except for Bowling Green. He led the conference in touchdown passes this past year. Now he wants to skate. When you're picking out, aren't you supposed to,
or
in theory,
level up.
in theory, aren't you supposed to pick out the school?
Yeah, but he would have had really good Division II offers that would have offered him an opportunity to transfer without sitting out. I mean, again, you can spin this a gazillion ways.
I mean, he's not going to be an NFL quarterback. I don't think that's going to be the case.
There's Norm Mac Dream Crusher Waymer coming out again.
No. How many bad quarterbacks went to
Byron
NFL
Leftwich,
teams? No,
Chad
this
Pennington.
past year.
Oh,
One.
well,
The one from Buffalo.
okay.
Don't go back 20, 30 years and
It's not 20 or 30. Ben Roethlisberger's still in the NFL.
well, it's almost 20.
Okay, well, it's a long time, but it's not
Between
that long.
15 and 20.
Bruce Gradkowski called and he said you're wrong.
It's closer to 20 than it is to 10. I mean, you go back to Ron Harper on the basketball side, too, and
Wally Serviak,
Yeah.
yes, I know.
Gary Trent.
Yeah, the Shack of the Mac. You did this. This is on you.
no, because you're just making yourself look silly, and I'm just letting you
That's
do it.
what I'm here for.
Here's the rope. Keep going.
I am here to be the court jester.
Keep going.
Okay.
Does he have the right to transfer? Sure, he's got a right to transfer, but doesn't he have an obligation to the school?
Don't they all? And don't all the coaches? And again, this is my problem is, when a coach can say, I'll recruit you and I'll...
I mean a moral obligation. I mean, or is it just, nobody's got any loyalty anyway, and
Well, so my problem with that is, so we don't talk about moral obligation. If you extend an offer and then pull it back because you end up with too many offers out there and you get too many commits, there's no consequence to that on the front end, and yet we'll hold kids to it in the middle end because they don't end up where they thought they'd go
Right.
because somebody took back an offer. I mean, the whole system has been crap for 50 years. Yes?
Oh, yeah.
And
Absolutely.
so if a college can, so they can extend an offer, and if you don't accept it, and then you decide to accept it, but they rescind it, there's no consequence to the school. The school doesn't lose a scholarship over that. So this has all been a game of, it's a modern era Game of Thrones with a bunch of people stabbing each other in the back and doing whatever they want. Well, come on, it's kind of topical. A little bit, there's only 2 episodes left. I know.
I've never seen
I
an
am
episode,
proud to
so.
say I haven't watched 2 seconds of Game of
Well,
Thrones.
that's on both of you because I enjoy
No,
it.
I'm proud.
It's one of my guilty pleasures. So while you're watching single A baseball on your iPhone, and
I would rather do that than
I
watch Game
understand,
of Thrones.
but I enjoy it.
Or Avengers. I've never
have
seen an
zero
Avengers
interest.
movie either.
And there's way more. Never mind. I'm not going to say that. My wife will yell at me.
I wish as many people that watch Game of Thrones would be as interested in our political process, but that's a whole other discussion.
Yeah, hope in one hand, defecate the other, evaluate contents later. Because good luck with that.
Just saying.
Yes. And by the way, those of you that texted me last weekend when I wasn't on the show saying it's the best show ever, thank you. Thank you, because I got like 10 of those while I was out of town. I really, truly appreciate all of you saying best show in...
Steve Taylor is good.
Yes, apparently I'm not.
I didn't say that.
It's fine.
Well, if you missed it, we were talking the NFL draft. You could always, talk about the defensive lineman there that the Cowboys drafted. It
Yes, I know.
has issues, but Jerry Jones says, no.
It's Dallas. We embrace Dallas, as an organization, Dallas embraces issues.
Because, see, you could probably get away with 1 or 2 players like that on your team, but if you keep adding them, if 1 or 2 becomes 4 or 5 or 6 or...
Let me go to this. So, since we're in throwback day today, they made a movie called North Dallas 40, and not that much has changed in Big D in the 35 years since, or 40 years since.
Yeah,
That's
mean,
all
it's
I'm
a-
going to say about that.
It's the same team that extended Randy Gregory when he's on the commissioner's exempt list and can't play, but didn't stop him from extending his contract.
Has Dez gotten a new contract yet?
The other day I was sitting there thinking, is Dez anywhere yet? And I didn't.
No, he blew out his Achilles, didn't he?
I don't even know.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
he did.
But a week after or 3 days after he signed with New Orleans.
Yeah, he did.
But I was thinking, is anybody even talking about,
I don't
I was going to
know.
Google Dez Bryant and try and not get past stats and present status, and I thought, I'm just too tired for this. I'm going to bed.
Well, now you got Amari Cooper, so.
And Dak was going to get $30 million a year. So.
Who did we say he was close to? Was it Tannehill? Or
Yeah.
He's the Andy
stats
Dalton
are
of the NFC.
Relatively close to Tannehill.
He was exactly the same stats as Ryan Tannehill. I'm pretty sure it was.
I know. I saw that and I drank. I'm just going to tell both of you, thank you.
Not a problem. That's what we're here for.
Yes.
All right, well, take a timeout. We'll come back. I want to talk some baseball because the Indians had a very significant injury, and there's a lot of Tiger talk about, well, players that aren't even there yet. We'll talk about that when we come back for our Roundtable show presented by Ralphie's.
Bring yourself to Ralphie's. Yeah, it's that good. It's that good no matter what your taste. It's that good. Come early, stay late. Burgers and beer, a shot of cheer. Great food and fun. It's that good here. Bring yourself to Ralphie's. Yeah, it's that good.
Mortgage Marty here. It's spring buying season's right around the corner. In fact, now is the best time to get started. Gives us a little lead time. If there's things we need to tweak, we can get on it right away. Remember, those credit inquiries don't affect your score any more than they will if you check later. So one inquiry, whether it's now and then again in the spring, still only counts as one, won't hurt your score. We helped 3 customers this week improve their score by an average of 30 points. So reach out now. Let's get that started. 419-461-0667 or marty.bin, B-I-H-N, at fairwaymc.com.
Powerbomb Wrestling is back in Toledo coming up on Sunday, June the 2nd, St. Clements Hall, 2990 Tremainsville in Toledo. Doors will open at 4:15, bell time at 5. It is June Justice, and you will see the champion Brandon Day defend his title. Also, a no DQ, no count out for the tag team titles. Andy Shane against Man Fulton and more. It's Sunday, June the 2nd, St. Clements Hall in Toledo. Welcome back from our Roundtable show presented by Ralphie's. Norm Waymer, Big John Milkowski, Marty Ben, who has returned from his excursion to Texas. We didn't get any like souvenirs. Or
No.
anything. Didn't bring us anything.
It was like Forrest Gump 2 nights. I got to watch it rain up. 5 inches the one night, and an
That's
hour
not
and a half.
good
Yeah,
when it
no.
rains up. It's
When you have an umbrella and you're still wet to the knee, you know it's raining really hard.
Well,
all right. The Indians, a significant injury to Corey Kluber, a broken arm. He's going to be maybe back in August, is what they're hoping now at this point. I think this puts a significant dent in the Indians, who are, as we tape this, so we're already trailing the Twins by 4 games. When we discussed who was going to make the playoffs and that, and Marty said, well, it's all the same teams as last year.
I'm glad I can be here to be
Well,
wrong.
it could be. It still
Predictions
could-
sure to go wrong.
It still could be. And, you know, we're early yet, but
Well, but I think you're right in discussing
I
this.
did say that the Indians should be the favorite, but watch out for the Twins. And right now they're playing pretty darn well, and I think it's going to be a dogfight.
and the Indians weren't playing good to begin with. I mean,
Can't hit.
Lindor missed the first half. Jose Ramirez is hitting in the low 200s.
You know,
They
in
don't have
that
an outfield.
normally I'm not worried about something like that, but Jose Ramirez didn't hit well the last month and a half of last year.
Yep.
So this has been going on for a while. You know, this is not.
It was
Just
a
an
little,
April
a little
thing.
chilly in spring. I was a little tight coming out, and
When I looked up his numbers the last month and a half,
and I think people don't understand what a true inning-eating starting pitcher gives a pitching staff in general. That when you lose 180 to 200 and change innings a year out of the middle of the staff, that you can just count on not having to go to your bullpen all the time and not having to mess with the rotation.
well, you know what? He's one of the guys that can go 220 anymore.
Right.
I mean,
right.
you don't
But I'm
have
saying,
many
but
of
when
them guys anymore.
anybody above 180 that you can count on keeping you in games most of the time and not having to go to the pen early and whatever, so that when you do have that, somebody else has that bad day or whatever, your pen's not strained. People don't understand what that does for a pitching staff in general. I'd say people, but a lot of casual fans don't seem to understand how important those inning eaters are to a season.
Oh, yeah.
And when you lose, it's not just your number one starter, but when you lose anybody that can get you through a lot of innings without a lot of damage, it's a really big deal to any staff.
Yeah.
And there's not next man up that can eat that kind of innings.
Yeah, and replacing Corey Kluber with Jeffrey Rodriguez, who's going to come up from Columbus. I mean, that's, you know, you're going a guy that's 7 innings easy every start to a guy that you hope to get 5 out of, and then you're trying to bring in the Adam Simbers and hope that you can piece together some of that, and that's just a huge difference.
And doing that one night a week as opposed to 2 or 3 nights a week is the difference between a bullpen that's fresh and nasty and a bullpen that's a bullpen. Because, I mean, it used to be, right, we wanted to get the starter out of there to get to the bullpen.
Nope.
And it's amazing to me. I was thinking about this when we were talking about bringing this up earlier. I don't think it's 10 years ago, and it's darn sure at 15 years ago, the goal was to get the ace starter out so you could rough up the bullpen. And now the goal is to get the ace starter to last long enough to give it to the guys in the bullpen who shut you down.
Yep.
And that script has literally entirely flipped in maybe, is it a decade?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
you
I would
think-
say 15 years ago, it was for sure you wanted to get started out. Remember the old Jeter Yankees teams that took a
Yep,
ton of
the
pitches?
the Red Sox with
Oh,
Youkilis
yeah, and they would just get you out of there. And now no one even cares about that.
Nope.
Because, you give it over to the one-inning specialist guys, and no one cares.
Well, and I mean, it used to be if you said you had to have a bullpen game, that was a bad thing.
Right.
Oh my God, we got to go to a bullpen game. Now you got teams that do bullpen games on purpose.
Of course, there's teams like the Orioles that look at this and go, "What are you guys talking about?"
Well, yeah.
Let's just say the distribution doesn't really extend to the Orioles.
Oh.
But I'm not saying that Indians aren't going to win the division. I would still, if you made me wager on it, I would still say that. But I think that that advantage that everybody seemed to think that they had, and maybe they did, I don't think they have it now. I think it's a dogfight now.
Oh, absolutely.
So I have a friend who's a bit of a, Cleveland homer, and I don't need a Browns text tonight, so leave me alone. So
Isn't that
anyways.
redundant? Oh, anyway, I'm sorry.
Yes,
we got 2 minutes left,
yes.
so I want to hit one more
But his
thing.
theory is if the Indians can find a way to still win the division and Kluber doesn't have as many miles on the tire, this might be the best thing that happened to him in a while. And I said,
No.
it almost never works out that way.
No.
But see, he's the guy that's telling me to book my playoff tickets now for the Browns game. So keep drinking.
We only got a minute or so. I don't know if we want to tackle this next time because it'll still be a topic,
Oh yeah.
and that's the Tiger kid pitchers that are basically in Double-A right now.
It's time.
And Casey Mize threw a no-hitter. I think.
But he gave up a hit the next time out, so he needs more seasoning.
And he gave up an extremely efficient no-hitter, which if you look at
Yeah,
that.
a Maddox.
Oh,
A Maddox no-hitter.
Oh, that pitch line was, as a pitching coach, I'm telling you, that's the one I want
Yep.
kids to throw.
And what's really impressive about him is when you hear him get interviewed and talk about pitching.
Yeah.
Because he's very humble in that I still need to work on my command. I still need to, spot the fastball better. I
Got
need
a couple
to,
great defensive
I
plays
need
to
do
bail me
this
out of
and that.
spots.
Yeah.
Catcher called a great game.
Nope.
And I think Matt Manning's really ready to come up to Toledo now.
Yeah, I don't think you'll see any of these guys in Detroit just because of the service time scenarios.
Just so sad.
I know, I understand it's not right.
Remember Dwight Gooden, who came up at 19 and won the Cy Young in the Rookie of the Year?
Yeah, but you don't want to start these guys' clocks this year on a
I don't know if that was
crappy
the
Tiger
best
team.
example he could pick.
The division's open. That's the thing. The division is
The
open.
Tigers are hovering around 500.
I mean, if you were sitting in the AL East, you'd go, "Oh no, absolutely not. We don't have a chance." And you can't really say that in the AL Central. You really can't.
But I'm not sure the reason to bring them up sooner is because you want to compete for the division this year. The reason you want to bring them up is to get them that experience, to get some legs under them. So I'm not saying winning the division
Well,
is a priority.
we're gonna get
Next
into
week.
whether you're actually rushing guys or not at some point. Not sure the time, but I think we got to get. John, thank you. Marty, thank you. Saturday Night Live coming up next. Powerbomb Wrestling at 2 a.m. You can't catch that DVR. You can't do that. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, please. And we'll see you next time. Front Row Roundtable Show, presented by Ralphie.